Hi, how are you? It's me, Jean Harville, founder of Helping Kids with Reading and also Raising Kids Who Love to Read Facebook group. So I wanted to just talk to you, and I know this happens to all moms, when your kids are young, middle, teens, all the way through. And it's that time of confrontation, right? What happens when things kind of go awry, and you kind of wonder, like, you're in the moment, you're caught in the moment, and there's just no way to diffuse this big hot debate or confrontation that's happening, and you are stuck with between, like, what do I do? I don't want to hurt my child's feelings, but my child is inappropriate, and then I don't want others to watch and think that I'm a bad mom, that I can't handle what's going on. And so you're kind of stuck in this decision mode, and you're kind of going back and forth. In the meantime, the issue is just escalating, and you just want to get out of it, right? You just want to run and hide. All right. So there is a number one way of what you can do. Now, first, let's just talk about, this situation may not have happened to you and your child, but you have probably seen it with other moms and their kids. The grocery store, for instance, the child just goes ballistic, and just starts screaming and crying for whatever reason. Maybe the child is hungry and tired, and mom says no one too many times, like, can I have that? Can I have that? And mom says no. And after a while, the kid just blows up and has a temper tantrum, and you can't control them at all. They're squirming. You can't, this is a younger child, and the mom is trying to plead with their child, trying to say, okay, if you act right, I'll give you this, or trying to bargain with them, and nothing seems to be working. The child just seems totally out of control. But what has happened is the child's brain has just gone boop, and this child is not in control anymore. The amygdala, that is part of the brain, that is that old part of the brain that tells you if you need to run, or if you need to freeze, or if you need to fight against whatever. So it kind of becomes one of these states where the brain is trying to keep you safe and familiar. For some reason, this child maybe has anxiety, or maybe the straps that were holding him into the grocery cart, were bothering him, and he felt trapped. You just don't know what the whole reason, what was going on behind the screaming and the hysterics that was going on. So, the mom is like, oh my gosh, what do I do? Oh my goodness, and everyone's looking at you. And the first thing to think about is, don't worry about what the others are looking at, because they too have had a child who's done the same thing. And most likely other people are looking at you with sympathy because they know exactly what you're going through. And if they don't, then that's their own business and their own problem. But what you are focused on is your child. Okay, because something is not right, and so you as mom wants to help protect your child, right? So what do you do in that moment, right? And so you're trying to de-escalate, trying to figure out what to do, all right? And then one thing is that that your child is in pain and agony and emotional state. So I guess the best thing to do would be to just grab your purse, grab your whatever belongings that belong to you, grab your child, and leave. And just leave everything alone. And it's understood that, okay, especially since your child has made a scene, people know what's going on. And the only thing you can do is you can take your child and just leave. Take your child and put him in the car, and then wait until your child is calm at a later time. What about I don't know, we have home education right now, but also we have some kids that go to school, and there's always that extra assignment, like maybe homework. Maybe there's an assignment, a project that has to be done, and your child is at their wit's end, or they're tired, or the project is beyond what they are able to do, and they just start feeling frustrated, especially if they are a perfectionist and everything has to be done perfectly, and they're not sure how that's going to happen, and everything's just not right for them. And so this is an issue that they are perceiving as a threat. And so they go into this mode of just their brain says, okay, it's okay. We're going to protect you. Your subconscious brain is saying, we're going to protect you. We're just going to, avoid doing this project. Let's go do something else instead. And the child takes off and does something different. But what's going on is the emotion of the child. You think about what the emotions, what your child is going through. And of course, usually when you yourself are in the middle of this frantic emotional stuff that's coming off your child, you're getting hit with it, and then you're getting hit with that, and you take it on, and you start being defensive too. Your brain is like, excuse me, there is something attacking you, so we're going to go into that mode of fight, flight, or, and freeze mode ourselves. And so you've got two people, you got your child and yourself. Your brains are like trying to keep you safe, and that's just not a good situation, right? All right, so you just want to preserve that relationship between the two of you. What about chores? Like your child, you have certain specific chores that you have assigned your kids, and it's your kids' turn to take out the trash, and they're like, for some reason, no, I'm not going to do that. Your child is not feeling well. Your child may be hungry, maybe tired. There's so many different reasons. I don't think kids act out just to act out. I think there are some things that are driving it, and that is for you to be the detective. So what is going on? So that's what you want to think about. But what happens is that in the moment, when things just blow up, you are human as well. You're tired, you're frantic, you're trying to get things done. You've got your agenda that's going on, and it doesn't fit your agenda, what's going on. So your brain, subconscious brain, is also going up. Wait a minute, fear, got something going on here, fight, flight, or freeze. And you've got two people, you have your child and yourself just going at it like this. Has that ever happened? And you're wondering, what just happened? I don't get this. I'm the adult here. Why am I acting the same as my child? So I need to take control. So what you do is not in the moment when that is happening, is when the best thing to do is to de-escalate it, move away. Send your child, if your child is having the homework issue, send your child to go do something else, not as a reward or anything like that, but see if you can figure out to just place him or walk away, move away, and let your child just calm himself down. Also, when you are at the chores, you say, hey, bud, and, this is what we had already decided. So, just kind of de-escalate it the best that you can. Later on, when both of you are calm, then you can approach. You can make a plan. You can decide in advance. The number one way to de-escalate and to preserve your child's feelings, and also and you staying under control, is decide in advance. The DIA method. Decide in advance. Sit down with your child and say, I know that sometimes and you can recreate or talk through, when you were mad about your homework and frustrated about your homework, like, what were you feeling? Why, why? They may not have been able to tell you why, but what were you feeling at that moment? And maybe they can get in touch and say, I don't know, I didn't think I could do it. It was too hard. It was too difficult. I don't know where we are in the assignment. And, depending on what the assignment was, if he was to draw a map, maybe he says, I can't draw. I don't know how to do that. And then you can kind of talk through what was going on, what would have been a better plan, what could, and have your child come up with, maybe I could have whatever, whatever plan that is. So if you can kind of think ahead, sometimes things just happen, but if you can think ahead of projects or things that may be happening or coming up, you can talk with your child and say, hey, I know you've got this big book report that's due. What is your plan? How can I help you? And kind of decide in advance how this book report is going to be created and be done, so that your child feels more in control. Okay, here's step 1, here's step 2, here's step 3, and mom is going to help me through these different steps. She's just going to remind me like what step I'm on, so then I can keep track and have this book report finished. Same thing with the chores. You have a chore chart, and you know that on this specific day, this happens, this specific day, this chore happens, and so forth. Discuss that with your child. Like, talk to them and say, is there a better way that we could do this chart to help you to be available to get your chores done? Or have them decide in advance. You know, Mom, it's really hard later in the day because I'm super tired by that time. Could I take the trash out in the morning? Or could I take the trash out at another time? Or could I, and let them come up with a solution, or to kind of talk to you about, you know what, we could do this different. Or I just really can't have a hard time doing that particular chore. Can I pick up a different one instead? Negotiations, right? And that's a good skill to teach our kids, is negotiating. And so I think that if we can do that out of that moment, that frantic moment that's happening, decide in advance with your child, what should we do? Okay, and the part about the grocery store, you know, if your child is older, you know, they may not know why they reacted the way they did. Maybe they were hungry, maybe they were tired, sleepy, all of those things that weigh on their body, and it caused the brain to just not be comfortable and say, whoa, stop, we're going to protect you, we're just going to go, whoo, you know, we're going to protect you. So if you decide in advance, when this happens, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a deep breath, and I'm not going to take it personally. I am going to move out of the situation. I'm going to move my child and myself out of the situation and leave. Whether it's just drop everything and leave the grocery store. You can make eye contact with one of the sales clerks, or somebody says, you know, like, I'm sorry, and leave. And, you know, or if it's the homework, you know homework is coming in, or you know that they have an assignment that they need to do outside of their home education, you know, talk to your child. How can we set this up? Have that communication. Decide in advance with your child how situations are going to be handled. That puts them at ease. It puts their brain at ease. It doesn't make you the threat that the brain is thinking, like, here comes the threat, here comes the threat. We're going to go into a fight, flight, or freeze mode. But if you, and then one of the things that after you've figured out with your child a nice method of doing something, when that is done over and over and over and over again, the brain starts realizing, wow, this is a new way of thinking about this problem or this situation. Okay, there is no threat here. So it allows also that routine, that repetition, for your child to understand that you are on their side, right? And so some of this, actually a lot of this, depends on you and your own thinking as well, okay, and your own parenting. And I'm not saying anything negative at all. It's just that think back in your own childhood. Were there situations that popped up, and did you react that same way as well? And sometimes you can find a pattern, and you can look back and say, oh, I remember when my mom was forcing me to continue with piano lessons, and I didn't want to do that. And I was in the 9th grade, and I was on the floor, kicking my legs and screaming. I was not going to continue piano lessons. That was a true story. So, you know, and so she backed off and said, okay, I'll give you this next 6 months off, or the next year off, until we find a different teacher. I'm like, I agreed. So at that point, my mom found a different teacher that was really going to give me the music that I wanted to play, and I just was so excited about that, and I loved piano lessons after that, and I even entered college as a music major. But the thing is that when you can think back to patterns when you were younger, and your reactions to things, and what were the thoughts that you felt about yourself? Did you feel dumb? Did you feel, I'm not smart enough, I can't draw, there's no way I can draw a map, you know, I can't do this? And so you've repeated in your head over and over again in your thoughts, I can't do this, I can't get my work done on time, I don't know how to read, I don't know how to draw, it has to be perfect before I can turn it in. Any of those messages that you have put through your subconscious brain has now hardwired it into your brain, right? And so it's not your fault at all. This is now part of your wiring. And so if something comes up, it's going to be an automatic response for you. This is what's happening with our kids too. So it's really important as our kids are younger. Yes, let them make mistakes. I'm not saying no, they don't ever make mistakes. Let them make mistakes for sure. But then talk about what's going on and what's the underlying belief that they are feeling about themselves, and then try to find ways to that other situations where they were able to get through a tough problem or a tough situation. What did they do? And acknowledge that they were able to go on that long hike and climb all those boulders and come out, without any skinned knees or anything. That was amazing. They were able to tackle that assignment or that book report last year. What did they do in order to get through that? And so kind of think back to situations or times when they were able to do this thing that upset them that upset them. They are able to do that, and have them practice, like, what is their belief now? I can do hard things. I can figure things out. It's figure-outable. I love that word. It's figure-outable. We can figure this problem out together, right? And so if you can come with them in that type of collaboration, and you are honoring them, you're honoring yourself as well, and you have talked through, so now you have been able to create this new thought that your child may have as something difficult comes up. Say, I can handle this. I will figure this out. I am smart. And the same thing with you. You have worked through some issues that maybe you've been holding on to from your childhood, and how, they have kept you back, held you back from stepping forward, from being the chairwoman of the society, or whatever, reaching out to friends. And what is it that keeps you from doing those things? So you can think back into your childhood and some messaging that you have created that is actually not true, and those negative thoughts are running through your brain, and how you can shift those thoughts through a process of wiring. My internet is telling me that it needs for me to leave, so I am going to cut it off for today, and I will talk to you again next week. All right, bye-bye.